Would you like to go to the greatest apologetics conference this country has ever seen?
Have you ever thought about how to share the gospel with culture?
Have you ever wanted to see Islam and Christianity battle intellectually in groundbreaking debates?
Have you ever wondered why Islam is growing so much here in the USA?
Have you ever wondered how anyone lives their life not knowing that the perfect eternal word of God become a man, not just to speak the truth, but to die for them?
Have you ever wanted to know how to move conversations about identity over to the gospel?
How can a sinner be right before a holy God?
Have you ever wondered what God thinks about women?
Have you ever wanted to seek and share truth together better than ever before with like-minded and uniquely gifted brothers and sisters?
Did you realize that Muhammad is actually in the Bible? But it's not what you may think.
Have you heard of the infamous satanic verses? Would you like to hear more? A lot more?
Have you ever wondered why, according to the Quran, Allah is Satan and Jesus is God?
Would you like to understand ways in which you can better convey the sanctity of human life?
Have you ever wondered about why so many people are being attracted to Hebrew Israelism?
Would you like to know why Dawah is crumbling?
Have you ever wanted to hear me sing? Probably not.
Have you ever wanted help do a ministry on YouTube more effectively?
Would you like to master the Islamic dilemma?
Have you ever wanted to see Daniel Hakikachu and David Wood face off as Daniel tries to debunk the Islamic dilemma?
Did you know that the Islamic model of God is not able to explain miracles, but the Trinity not only can, but is the only model of God that does it perfectly?
At this conference, you'll learn how to identify a cult, how to give proper biblical responses, and hopefully win them for Christ by preaching to them the true gospel of Jesus Christ according to biblical revelation. We will also be dealing with atheism and agnosticism and other philosophical worldviews that are in opposition to the biblical faith, which is Christianity.
Whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, atheist, or none of the above, if you'd like to learn more, we'd love to have you join us at this year's free Seek and Share Truth Conference in Ohio and online. If you'd like to support our missions, attending our free conference, outreaches, and/or debates, praying for us, donating to help us cover our speakers' costs, and inviting others to come and do the same helps so much. If you'd like to learn more, check out our website and RSVP for free today. And if you have any questions, know I'm here to help. We hope to see you there. And either way, thank you so much for your consideration. And may God bless you with his guidance always.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started on this wonderful topic. If you guys are interested in the Seek and Share Truth Conference, make sure to check out the link. It is in the description for the upcoming. There we go. Welcome on up our guests for today. We have Hatun. Welcome back, sister.
Peace of Christ be with you, brother. How are you? Are you ready for the conference?
I am getting there.
You are still getting there? You should be there by now. It's next week.
It's a little over a week. It's a little over a week.
Yeah, it should
all be a little over a week.
Did you do your talks yet?
Do my talks? What talks?
I don't know. You will be doing some useful things, I am guessing.
Oh, yes, definitely. But I don't do the talks until we're actually at the conference. Yeah, so here's my lovely wife who will be joining us as well. So just for the people in the chat that don't know you guys, would you like to introduce yourself, Fatum?
I'm the one of the most loveliest person anyone ever will meet. And I am one of the most humble and all those kind of things. I head up ministry called DCCI Ministry, stands for Defend Christ, Critic Islam, engaging Muslims in evangelism through using apologetics and polemics. In summary, that's what I do.
Fantastic. Well, my lovely wife, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Elle. I cannot confirm or deny what Hatun may say about herself publicly without fear of my certain things that I also probably shouldn't disclose, but Happy to be here with you guys. I also do apologetics, polemics, and evangelism online, in person, through conferences, through YouTube, and I'm happy to join you guys. So thank you for having me.
Yep, and the links to their channels are in the descriptions below. So why are we here today? Well, it seems Yasir Qadhi has helped us again. It's kind of weird. He does know which side he's on, right?
I'm not sure if we kind of overall should be saying Yasir Qadhi helped us. I think we should all be concerning for his well-being and his safety at this stage.
Absolutely. I think that is a critical part. Ladies and gentlemen, please be praying for Yasir Qadhi's protection as well as the salvation of his soul. I think that this is very revealing on where he personally is in a lot of regards. But before we dive on in, because we've got a couple of videos to go through today, why does this matter? So this is the whole, he put doubt on the reliability of the Sahih Hadith, but why does that even matter? Do you guys want to give your opinions on why that should matter to Muslims or shouldn't?
I'll go first. Ladies first. Let's do ladies first now. Foundation of Islam is based on Quran and actions of Muhammad. What Muhammad said, what Muhammad did, how Muhammad lived his life. Muslim cannot be Muslim without the customs of Muhammad. How many times they are going to pray, what judgment they need to use in certain occasions. All the very detailed of Muslim life won't be exist. I know I shouldn't be making case regarding the Quran and Sunnah, but overall, you can't live your life as a Muslim if you don't have the Hadith, if you don't have the customs of Muhammad, if you don't have the Sunnah. And Yasir Qadhi simply expressing, actually, we cannot trace back to Sunnah, customs of Muhammad, his sayings, back to him. And historically, it's been discredited. So when you ask Muslims, how many times do you pray? They will respond 5 times a day. Quran says 3 times. Okay. Sometimes even Hadith overrides the Quran. How do you pray? Quran doesn't tell them, but Muslims get that information from Hadith. So all those very basics, when do they need to have shower, when do they need to just wash their hands, all very basics is come to us from Hadith. And critics of Islam as well as Christian apologists has been making case that we cannot trust the Hadith, but now Yasir Qadhi took mic and then kind of said, yeah, we cannot trace back to Hadith, to Muhammad, as well as historians are discrediting the Hadith. So overall, that's kind of important to Muslims.
Just a little on the whole reliability. Go ahead, hon.
Yeah, so it's, as Hatun said, it's the backbone for Islam. So if the backbone's gone, what's even left?
Yeah,
well,
in my opinion, go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially because Yasir Qadhi has already destroyed the most important book's credibility to begin with. He's already destroyed the Quran's credibility. So if the Quran's credibility is already destroyed and it's only left based on the Hadith, and now the Hadith's credibility is acknowledged as destroyed, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, the Hadith are really the backbone of how we know the history around the Quran. So without that, we just have a random book with a bunch of random sayings coming from someone allegedly in Arabia. And that's about all we got. If you take out the Hadith, we don't have any of the historical aspect of it. Yeah, we do have our first super chat already into the stream. If they say, if Yasir Qadhi is a Mossad agent, then Mojab must be a Mossad controller. as no one has done more to expose the falsehood of Islam than him. I'd say they've both done quite a bit of damage this year. It's been one thing after another this year. It's just been falling apart for Islam left and right. But as is tradition on this channel, do your super chat. We'll spin the wheel and see what you get. See here. Party horns. Ah, there we go. And I've got those right here. So I've got that for a bit. So whenever we do a super chat, we go ahead and spin the wheel to figure out what happens.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
Surah 4, verse 64 and 65 is important verses where you are not identified as a believer if you do not go with the judgment of Muhammad. And Surah 3 verse 31 say, if you should love Allah, then follow me. So without following Muhammad, Muslims cannot express their love to Allah. For them to follow Muhammad, where do they go? The broken backbone which Al mentioned. And that's like already like broken, crushed. I don't know. What is like smallest
devastated
version of things?
Mutilated.
Yeah, whatever is that thing is like.
There's the descriptions go on and on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is nuts. This is really a huge hit to Islam, having him come out here. And of course, we have the Muslims reacting to this, rushing to the defense of their belief against Yasir Qadhi. In fact, yes, he's even referred to as a Mossad agent as well by some of these Muslims who are trying to explain why on earth he would say something so heretical.
Before you play this, can I play one more, or can I show one more reason why it's so important that they know what Muhammad said and did?
Absolutely, go for it.
One moment, let me share my screen. So I think the verse that Hatun brought up is the most important on this, but this is also of importance. And this was actually just brought up for a different reason earlier today, but so this is Quran Surah 8, Ayah 12. Remember when your Lord inspired to the angels, I am with you. So strengthen those who have believed. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieved. So strike them upon their necks and strike from them every fingertip. The context, though, is what I wanted to highlight, which is Surah 8:13. That is because they opposed Allah and His Messenger. And whoever opposes Allah and His Messenger, indeed, Allah is severe in penalty. Well, how do you know if you're opposing, as Hatun brought up earlier, the judgments of Muhammad, if you don't know what his judgments were? So you don't really want to be one of the ones who has their neck struck and their fingertips are moved. So,
well, you've got Muslims who are praying Allah, begging Allah to destroy even keyboard of Yasir Qadhi, not even like, yeah, just not good.
Yeah, it is falling apart. I think we have here a couple of good points. This is from Farid Responds. We have two videos from him to go through real quick. So we have his first, and then a response that he just released. So he just double down again on this. So we'll find out what he goes on.
Academy, we have a very skeptical approach to the Hadith corpus and its ability to tell us anything really about the Prophet and actually what he did and said, which appears to be diametrically opposed to the Salafi theological emphasis on the Hadith canon. How do you think this sort of academic scholarship and also its increasing accessibility to lay believers will affect or influence the continued development of Salafi or post-Salafi thought?
That is a very difficult question because it's very sensitive and because there's no easy answer and because we are witnessing this in lifetime. It's a very difficult question. And it is a question that I myself am grappling with at a personal level, at a believing level, and as an academic, and as a preacher and teacher.
Now, just evaluation on what he just said. That's kind of the bombshell right there in a nutshell. That's it. And I think that was an honest answer. I think he's honestly struggling with this sort of stuff, and he doesn't know where to go. Because beforehand, he admitted that there are holes in the narrative when it comes to the perfect preservation of the Quran. Now he's saying, well, geez, we don't even know about the Hadith. We have nothing on the Hadith itself. So we have a question here. Did he seriously blur out the lady? Yes,
yeah,
he did.
That's what I was going to say. He blurred out the lady. Her face is so dangerous to Muslim world. Not her question, but her face is so dangerous. So therefore, Farid decided to blur her.
Yeah, it was Farid who decided to blur her, not Yasir Qadhi. So just putting the blame where it's supposed to go. Yep, so dangerous. She can ask whatever questions she wants, but if she shows her face, no. Can't have that at all.
So do you remember that 3 minutes clip of Yasir Qadhi? Standard narrative has holes in it. That's all I can say now.
Yes.
So the way Yasir Qadhi kind of start responding to this question is very, very similar to holes in the narrative. How he's responding to holes in the narrative. That's not easy. Yes or no. I've been doubting about this. I've been thinking about this. Like very, very similar. And even his faces, like his face expressions are very similar.
He's very depressed about it. He knows he's going to get backlash about this. He knows this is going to do damage, but he's going to answer this honestly. And he could have just lied about it. But he seemed to have to say this. So, ouch. But it seems to be pretty good for us. And I do respect that. I admit, if he's honestly saying, hey, I have struggles with it, I don't know. I've looked into these things and it's left me with more questions than answers. That's an honest answer. And I can respect that.
Yeah, but Muslims won't respect that because honesty destroys Islam. That's the difference between Christian worldview and Islamic worldview. We have a God who is not afraid of us to ask questions. He says, like, come, let's reason together. Versus in Islam, asking questions already causing doubt. And honesty is like, never be honest. Taqiyya is always the best principle.
And definitely when it comes public, you make sure you never say anything that may cause any sort of doubt. According to the Quran, you're not even supposed to ask those sort of questions that could cause you to doubt. So that would be a bit of an issue for him. But we'll see what Farid has to say. Before we dive into this, Elle, is there anything you want to add?
I hope and pray that Yasir Qadhi leaves Islam. He already seems to know that it's not reliable. And I hope that he is intellectually honest enough to admitting the wrongs he's already done in promoting Islam, no longer do so, but actually pursue truth.
The thing is, like, he doesn't feel any shame to say, yes, I know there are historical problems in the Hadith, but still I am willing to teach in mosques, in Islamic societies, to my Muslim audience. This is what the Prophet said. So he doesn't, like, you've got like certain things he simply says, okay, this is just problematic. We need to laugh at this and let it go. For example, Yajuj and Majuj, shirk, like can you pray to the dead, all those kind of things. So he kind of expresses that he's got concerns on this, or Muslim world is being divided about this. But he is willing to say, I am willing to wear 2 suits, one at university to non-Muslim audience, one at mosque. So I'm willing to, even though I might have doubts, but I'm willing to live my life as, yeah, I am confident Muslim, I am teaching you Islam. I find those things concern.
In the end, I find that at least in the experience I've seen with people who have basically 2 lives, one of them is going to fall apart. They can't do that, and it's going to either tear one of their lives apart, or just tear them apart internally until they have to do something, or else it collapses upon them. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. So let's see what Farid has here to say.
No, that's not how you friggin' answer the question, Yasir.
Now, just for clarification, Farid has some sort of degree from any sort of university according to Islam, according to Islamic standards.
I don't know.
I wasn't able.
I don't know his educational background, but like Yasir Qadhi's qualifications are very much public.
Yeah, because he's going to be taking the position, so he's questioning the decision of a scholar, and he's going to replace the scholar with himself and say, this is how you should have responded. You did a bad thing. This is how you should respond. But in so doing, he is questioning the authority of the Muslim scholar who made this. So, bit of an issue.
Academy, we have a very skeptical approach to the Hadith corpus and its ability to tell us anything really about the Prophet and actually what he did and said.
Who are we referring to in the first place? Are we referring to like the clowns that dismiss the existence of Zir bin Hubaysh and Nafi' and Hisham bin Hakim? Are those the folks that we're referring to, the conspiracy theorists, revisionists? Because if that's the case, then you don't even need to refute them, because other academics have refuted them.
How do you think?
Okay, that's a non-answer. We don't need to refute them because other people have already done it. Well, who? Where? Where's your references? And again, it's the hypothetical that this is who they're talking about, which is how he coached it in there to say, okay, if they're talking about this, they may not be.
I think this sort of academic scholarship and also its increasing accessibility to lay believers will affect or influence the continued development of Salafi or post-Salafi thought.
Now, you see, it will not have any effect at all because the lay Muslim doesn't read academic articles put out by Western academics, and those with a background in Hadith sciences, they're not fooled by the garbage that the skeptical Western academics put out.
The very fact that he has to put the except for Yasir Qadhi section automatically disqualifies his statement, because obviously they do. And secondly, basically what he's saying here is he's saying, the common Muslim, they're too stupid. They don't read these articles. They're too stupid to look into this.
He's right on that. He's right on that. So you don't get to see a Muslim who just turns up to mosque 5 times a day, doesn't even know that much about what outside of the world says. Yeah, they won't read it. So all they do is whatever my imam said, whatever my sheikh said, I'm going to take that. So in that case, he's right. Therefore, he thinks it is his right to continue to lie to those people. And
that's go ahead. Sorry.
Of course, on the other hand, you've got Muslim scholars, like, for example, Shabir Ali, simply, yes, he didn't take the mic and then he said, okay, historians are discrediting this kind of things, but he takes the mic and then he says, well, we cannot trust that Sahih Hadith. We need to question whether it is really Sahih or not. We need to interpret it differently. So you've got those voices as well.
Yeah, just sweep it under the rug, saying, "Well, they're not going to read it, so it's not going to be. It's null and void. It's just don't worry about it." No, if it was so obscure, this question would never actually have come to the surface. The reason why she's asking this is because it's something that is concerning. That the fact that more information is now available online to Muslims is tearing Islam apart, because Islam relies heavily on deceit and deception.
You see, Yasir, that's how you answer these questions. And look at you. You look miserable. You look like someone stole your lunch money. Who bullied you, bro?
Would it be the Muslims who have bullied him since the last time he did an interview? I'm just saying, because he's like, who bullied you, man? I just spent the first 2 minutes of this video here bullying you, and then I look at you and you don't look, you look sad. So who's bullying you, man?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, wait, he started the video off like being like, wrong, how dare you, wrong. Wait, why are you sad? Wild.
Don't you think like that's overall kind of the face you would have when someone is asking you a question? Like what do you look like when someone asks you a question? You kind of don't just like stay like this for all the time. Yeah, you need to listen to the question. You need to think, okay, let me see if I understood the question. So that's very normal phase. But yeah, Muslims have bullying him last 5 years, and now, oh, who stole your lunch money?
Who's bullying you as I'm bullying you here on this video? Oh, man. And you're going to get backlash for answering this question. And, oh, man. This is how unself-aware they really are.
You asked me excellent question.
That is a very difficult question, because it's very sensitive and because there's no easy answer.
Have some shame, man. Just say you're ignorant to the subject. Tell them to ask someone else. And by the way, despite being so sad and miskeen and don't have an answer, this is what he says next.
There is no, now I hope there is, but as of yet, as somebody who's my undergraduate was in the College of Hadith. So I specialized, and it is said, and I'm not just saying because I'm a graduate, this was the well-known reality, that the College of Hadith in the University of Medina in the 90s and the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they've changed it now. It was considered to be the most advanced study of Hadith at the undergraduate level in the entire world.
So he is he's saying, hey, I'm the scholar that should know this. I'm the scholar of scholars sort of idea. And he's got the authority. He's the one that we're told to go ask questions to. When the imams run out of their Dawah script, they're saying, go ask the scholars, go talk to the scholars. Well, he would be one of them. He'd be one on that list.
It was maybe back 2014, 2015. So before that, I never come across with Yasir Qadhi. Muslims were the ones at Speaker's Corner, this like Farid's group at Speaker's Corner. They were the ones like, oh, you should read Yasir Qadhi, get his Science of the Quran book. So now he's like under the bus, and then not only he's under the bus, they're bullying him.
And then complaining about how he looks like he's being bullied. Who's bullying you? Oh, man. But yeah, he is the one who should be certified to be able to answer this. And this is the answer he gives. But Muslims aren't satisfied with it because it doesn't fit their narrative. Because they want a specific type of answer. And he doesn't give that to them.
And as somebody who went through that and has talked to other people from other institutes, I would very much agree with that, the amount of studying that we did. So what I'm trying to say is I've studied Hadith inside out. I have ijazat more than I do. I forgot how many I have.
After all this, after this film that you made, you're gonna boast your credentials. Yeah, boast your credentials when you're doing something good. Not when you're miskeen and the ummah is in danger and we have no answers to the questions. And there's something I personally struggle with. By the way, I'm the best scholar ever. I got the highest grades, and everyone was jelly of me. That's all.
So, in other words, hide your credentials. Only use them when you say things we like.
Yeah.
Other words, hide who you are when you're asking questions, when you're struggling with stuff. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that you have to do an investigation, that you need to do some research on this. We don't want to hear your actual results from what you studied. We want to hear only what we want you to say.
It's sad, isn't it? Like, one of the things we love to do is like, okay, I know someone, for example, who took part on translation of Bible. I love to sit with him and then like listen from him, learn from him, because like all the research he's done to put all those things together, that like what kind of questions he asked, what are his doubts, you want to know those kind of things, versus he's just like, oh no, because I don't like what you are going to say, what you are saying, therefore just shut up. Very different mindset, like concerning.
Well, it's very lonely for Yasir Qadhi, because he's dealing with these doubts, basically, this concerning that, I mean, shakes his whole foundation of his belief. And this is the response he gets when he says, I just don't know. I'm struggling with this. I'm having a hard time with this. Not the Christian response, which, oh, okay, well, let's come together. Let's take a look at this. Let's dive into this. It is outright just condemnation, and how dare you ever have any concerns at all. Jeez.
If you don't allow people to express their doubts or their concerns, what's going to happen? One day they will just pack and then walk out of Islam. That's how it is. So you sit down, you study with them, you discuss with them, you kind of, okay, let's dig into these doubts and then see what we can do, how we can understand it better, how it makes sense to you. But no, in Islam it's just very different. Shut up, man. Shut up.
Yep, you're all alone. You're the only one who's doing this, because, which isn't true, because by what he's saying, there's a lot of people that have these questions. There's a lot of Muslim scholars who are dealing with this, who have this as a difficulty, saying, hey, these hadith don't seem to be very reliable in the end. And it's kind of our backbone. And I know we're saying this publicly, but behind closed doors, we are having this whole thing's falling apart. And one of the advantages of having the internet like it is guess what? The sort of things get out there. It gets public. Someone records it and it goes everywhere. So again, we're looking at Farid here. He is obviously not part of those scholarly circles, but yet here he is quickly stabbing a scholar in the back, metaphorically, because he doesn't say what he wants to say. And Farid could do it so much better by just saying, let's ignore it.
No, I think he couldn't do that, because I listened one of the live stream where he was calling Yasir Qadhi is not smart. People were asking him, like, this is what Yasir Qadhi said, respond to people's questions, like, because people were asking him. He made this video. He knew, like, okay, I can't shut my followers down. People are asking, people are pushing me, therefore I cannot shut up. Let me take the mic and then say Yasir Qadhi to shut up.
Yeah, so this really does depict a religion without love and compassion, is what it comes down to. Islam is a religion without love and compassion. You're out there for yourself. You're trying to get yourself better in some way, get your goodie points in order to enter into heaven and earn your way into heaven. Where in Christianity, no, we help each other. If a brother or sister is struggling, we are supposed to help them with whatever that difficulty is. Be it some sin that they're slipping into or some question they have about the Bible. There's nothing wrong with asking questions in Christianity.
People,
Islam,
people listen that very carefully. If you have a doubt, if you have a question, bring that up. And it is very normal. Like when you first start reading the Bible, you will have only one or two questions. As you get to know the scripture more, as you get to know God more and more, you will by default have more questions. When you start reading more books outside of the Bible, you will have more questions, and that's very normal. Call your brother in Christ, call me, call L, call your brothers and sisters, and then tell them you are struggling with this. Maybe we struggle with the same thing now. We've got sufficient answer for ourselves. We can discuss those things. You won't be, I hope, like no one kind of just tells you, shut up, don't bring up those questions, because that's not biblical. We bring up our questions, we discuss them together. Don't kind of be treated as like Muslims treat one another. You've got questions, you won't get bullied. You simply call your brother in Christ, call Al, call me, call other brothers and sisters who you think they can help you.
Yep, and ask to go through the study, go through the references, step through this. We are to be the body of Christ. We are brothers and sisters in Christ, and part of being a family is not looking at the next opportunity to stab each other in the back, which is what we end up seeing with the Ummah here.
Yeah, and we see this all the more through Aisha and her recent circumstances in regards to this group using her former concerns against her, essentially treating her as an apostate simply because she had concerns because of people like Yasir Qadhi, because of amazing people like Khatun.
Yasir Qadhi and Mohammed Hijab, because both of them played equal part. And also don't forget, Farid is the one who gave Mohammed Hijab the question. So those very people.
Yeah, but because she had these concerns and these questions that she wanted answers to, she wasn't saying, oh, I'm an apostate because of this, but because she had questions, they're behind her back plotting against her to make her out to be an apostate, to endorse even so far as her potentially killing herself if she were to do that, because of these questions and because of other concerns that she has about Islam. So yeah, as opposed to like where Hatun is saying, yeah, if you have questions, if you have doubts, please bring them to us. Like, we'd love to help walk through this with you. We'd love to be the body of Christ with you and go over these things together. Yeah, behind the backs of Muslims, other Muslims are plotting to destroy each other. It's insane. And even publicly, obviously, with like this video, it's very obvious what he's doing here.
Absolutely. He's undermining him. He's questioning his authority. He says, don't even talk about your credentials when you're saying things I don't like. Don't even do that. You know, that's wrong. So we have a super chat here again. It says, hole deepens even further when we consider that the author of the Hafs Quran had 100% of his hadiths thrown out because, according to Muslims, he was widely known to be a liar, plagiarist, and a thief. Yeah.
Do you see the problem there? So they did not take his hadith because he was a liar and he was a thief, but they took his sayings for the Quran and then they produced the Quran. So hadith is more important. Liars cannot get into the hadith, but liars can get into the Quran. Thieves cannot get into the hadith, but thieves can get into the Quran. Awesome.
So which is more important, the Quran or hadith? Because it seems like the hadith is more important according to their actions than the Quran is, because I'll just take the Quran from any Tom, Dick, or Harry, but oh no, you gotta make sure those hadith are correct.
Sister, I do need to publicly correct you. You said that liars and thieves can't get into the hadith, but I would like to say that both Allah and Muhammad are referenced in the hadith, sadly. So it seems the liars did get into the hadith, But yeah, they are also in the Quran. So yes, Muhammad and Allah, the liars and thieves, did make it into the Quran. Not that like Muhammad is caught out for being an ear because he so flagrantly steals things from other people or anything in the Quran, but yeah, you do raise an important concern all the same with Hafs, yes.
Well, I'll stand corrected then. Yes, Hafs, they couldn't get Hafs into the Hadith, but Allah and Muhammad made it. Maybe Hafs is better than Allah and Muhammad. I don't know.
Oh, I have no doubt.
You have no doubt?
I have no doubt. I mean, the
According to
bar
all-
is like not even on the screen. I can't show you how low the bar is. It's like below the floor. It's probably like below the core of the earth.
Okay, I think I know the bar. So, according to Islamic tradition, Hafs stole a book. According to Islamic tradition, Muhammad stole someone's red underwear. So, if you steal red underwear, it is cheap. You can get into the Quran and Hadith. But if you steal a book, yeah, you can't make it to the Hadith.
Well,
What about the
according to
stone?
Allah,
Huh?
stone. Well, according
If
to
you're concerned
Allah,
about stolen
he's the
underwear.
greatest of all deceivers. So that would be a bit of an issue. If he's the greatest of all liars, then whoops, he got in.
What did Allah steal? We need to think about that. It must be something lower than the book.
He stole
Identity.
Jesus, supposedly.
All the time to boast your credentials. Shuf, I'll tell you something, Yasir. When you mention I'm from Medina University, you're bringing down the whole establishment.
Yep.
Because
that's
they weren't able to prepare you for the masakin there in the Western academia.
Or just a moment here. Or this is the result of the academia. This is what it produced. It is actually that. The best that they've got is saying, hey, we don't know. We doubt the consistency of these hadith. We doubt the entire system. Who knew that phone tag doesn't work for transmitting detailed stories?
So in Medina, they taught him, this is what Prophet said. This is all awesome, wonderful. And then he went to yell. And then, oh, there is no evidence this is what Prophet said. Yeah, they didn't prepare him. Critical thinking is not exist out there. If you think critically, you are black sheep, and that's now what's happening to Yasir Qadhi.
Just a quick comment, rewinding, just for context for anybody. I pulled it up because I mentioned the stone. As far as we were talking about theft and theft of underwear. Sahih al-Bukhari, Volume 4, Book 55, number 616 is what I was referring to, where a stone stole Moses' clothes and ran off at them when he got out of the bath. So.
Yeah. So you got rock is stolen Moses' clothes because like people are making fun of his diseases stuff, but there is also tradition talks about Muhammad stole someone else's red underwear.
Yeah, so I was just saying Muhammad made it into the Hadith. The stone that stole all of Moses' clothes made it into the Hadith. Like they all made it into the Hadith.
Book is more important. See, book is like if you steal book, yeah, you are identified as thief. But if you steal like underwear or clothing, you are fine.
My only question is, was I red underwear Aisha's? Just wondering.
No comment, brother.
No comment.
No comment.
If you believe in the, that the Sunnah has been preserved by the Hadith, you're going to have to follow a certain epistemology, a certain paradigm. And if you are, like, as you're aware, and you're an academic channel, right? You're well aware. Nobody in the academy affirms the Muslim Sunni science of Hadith. Nobody.
If this was like
because it is laughable. Anyone
Nobody.
can see that how laughable it is.
Yeah, but nobody.
Nobody. Yeah, it could be slightly over exaggerating. Maybe there's someone under some rock, but if the majority of Muslim scholars have this consensus, then it is the way it needs to be. They need to go to it. They need to submit to it. Don't say you believe, just submit.
Completely accurate, then this would be highlighted as proof against Western academia.
They discredited. I'm just being factual. I'm describing. I'm not saying which one is right or wrong. I'm just saying the max you'll get, like Harold Motsky and others are going to say, well, we can say that some hadith definitely go back to some tabi'un. That's like the max you can say.
That's bad.
So still, those academics are not saying this goes back to Muhammad, and still those academics are not saying these are the exact words and behavior of Muhammad. So there is no historians out there tells us hadiths are the, like historically they are confident that hadiths are the exactly words and behavior of Muhammad. They are accurately preserved. No one is saying that. So don't like fall into what Farid is going to bring up to our attention. So nothing goes back to Muhammad. Maybe his students, maybe his relatives, but nothing goes back to Muhammad.
So now he's going to pull some random, what's this, X account as witness, where Yasir Qadhi's witnesses are the Muslim scholars that we're told are educated and reliable. And Yasir Qadhi himself is someone who has, by his own admission and by his scholarly accomplishments, according to Muslim standards, has studied the hadith in detail. But wait, we have a random X account here. They shall so totally defend Islam.
Yasir, this is an account on Twitter called Cur Depression. The dude's got a manga profile pic. Now he's gonna give you a quick little lesson here.
Now, I just have one question. Is this Farid? Is this your account? I just want to make sure, because I mean, with Muhammad and John, you guys have shown some pretty bad lies. And it seems to be the only authority that Farid really likes is himself. So just to go to like this random account and say, see this random account here so totally disproves you without any credentials at all.
So it's just concerning that I'm looking at Twitter right now. I just wanted to check who this person is. Since Farid made this video, person gained approximately like now he's got 3,519 followers. Account opened February 2021. Now you make me to think, like, I never thought, oh, maybe this is like Farid's or one of the Muslims' other account from to kind of fix the messes. So it's strange that there were lots of people who were replying to tweets on Yasir Qadhi. They went and then picked this guy. And he doesn't have much on his thing, but they went for him. Yeah, God knows who is there. It must be one of their friends.
So that's what I would see is saying, hey, this is one of the throwaway accounts that they've capped that then they can use for such said occasions like this, saying that, oh, look at this random, not me account here. So totally debunking him. See, now this random account and I are in consensus, so therefore it must be true. Even if we're charitable and say, okay, Farid, you grab this random account, and it's a random account, doesn't believe Yasir Qadhi. This random account, by Islamic standards, does not matter. Their rulings does not matter.
Qadhi says The max you will get is someone like Motsky saying some hadith definitely go back to some tabi'un, seemingly unaware that Motsky has argued that there is material historical to the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, as well as Ibn Abbas. Motsky says it is possible to defend the thesis that until the opposite is proved, the traditions transmitted by Ibn Jurayj from Ata from Ibn Abbas may be regarded as reliable transmissions of the latter. Guys.
So until someone brings up evidence that disproves this, we must believe it. That's not how evidence works. You build a claim off of evidence. If you're saying that there is historical evidence, then where is that?
So just pick up a few things, okay? He's not saying all the hadiths are reliable. He's saying rather some chains, okay? Some chains goes to the students of, or goes to the few people in the time of Muhammad. And then in that example, he gives Ibn Abbas. Okay? So I saw a video of Robert Spencer. He made a kind of debunking video of this video. And then I was like, okay, let me do some research. So if you can, are you able to kind of just go back a few seconds? I want to point out something. Yeah, okay, this page. It's kind of very practical thing. Let me get that. So, Ata ibn Abi Rahar, sorry, Ibn Juraya, he takes it from Ata ibn Abi Rahat, and then that person takes from Ibn Abbas. Okay, Ibn Abbas died in 68 after Hijrah. Ibn Juraya died 150 AD. That's like 767. So there is how many years gap? 100 years, almost 100 years gap. Okay, so three individuals, three people in this it's not three individuals. How many hadith of those three individuals in Sahih Bukhari? Sake of the argument, just sake of the argument, this guy's hadith goes back to Muhammad. It doesn't go back to Muhammad. It stopped in Ibn Abbas. But how many of those hadiths in Sahih Bukhari? Less than 10. Less than 10. And it's 3 to 5. I found 2 of them. People are talking about third hadith, but I cannot find that in Sahih Bukhari at all. Think about it. Because those 3 hadiths, out of how many hadiths in Sahih Bukhari? 7,200, over 7,200 hadith. And then because like 3 to 5 hadith is from these 3 people's chain, goes back to kind of closest time of Muhammad, therefore hadith is reliable according to historians. Nope. Nope. Author of this book is not making such a claim. He's just looking at providing these examples. So I think it's very, very intentionally misguiding by this fake account of Farid, let's say. I don't know if it is fake account of him, but this account as well as from Farid.
See, I'm sorry. I've listened to way too much of Mohammed Hijab's stuff and saw way too much of the stuff that he's doing and the stuff that they are said to do behind the scenes with him and his group of 75 different Dawahists. Yeah, I have a hard time believing you guys now. On top of that, I've seen Ali Dawah over there using AI generated stuff, so I've no clue anymore. I don't.
Okay. Let me just see if I can just show something, if that's okay, brother.
Absolutely.
While you're pulling that up, I'm just glad that Farid's not hating on people who have an anime character in their profile picture, as I initially thought he was. I'm glad he may or may not endorse it.
Well, I think, again, I'm wondering if that's actually him. Because he seems very focused on, oh, look at this random person here with this anime character. How do you know it's from anime? It could just be a doodle.
Someone sent me a video. I listened only few minutes of it. So 2 individuals who are not showing their face, but they are clearly Muslims. They are using this tweet and this guy as well. So, yeah. I was told, I can't remember because I just checked it on the phone. I was doing something else, but like when the message came, they said, okay, he's the other Dawah gangster talking about this. Can you debunk it? So they were using exactly the same hadith, sorry, same tweet and then same book. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now suddenly this guy who's got only 3,000 followers debunking Yasir Qadhi is someone in their circles intentionally set up to debunk Yasir Qadhi. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because after all, they did that with Aisha, as far as like Muhammad Hijab's not Muhammad Hijab video they released on another account that then they ended up sharing all around and promoting. So it got big. Oy.
So here is one of the hadith of these three people. Ibn Juraya, Atta, and Ibn Abbas. Okay, I've got only two of them, but they're talking about there's third hadith. I haven't found it yet. But that's like 7,275 hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. And two of them apparently goes back to the students of Muhammad. This is the hadith. Not sure what to make of it. The Prophet made Al-Fad right behind him. That word is already confusing to me what it means sometimes. Al-Fad informed that the Prophet keep on reciting Talbiyah until he did the Rami of Jamra. So that's the hadith.
That's their reliable example of a hadith that's supposed to go back to
students of Muhammad.
The students of Muhammad.
Yeah.
So even if we grant it, that's a bit of an issue. Even if we grant that.
And then there was another one. Let me see if I can see that one. Okay. Other one is like very similar of that hadith. So, but overall, that is like I find unless like there are thousands of them, since those people are very reliable, I'm sure people will be able to produce those kind of things. But like 3 to 5. And then there is database, you can just put the names and then that produces you. I've got only 2 of them. I don't know the third one yet. Doesn't kind of, doesn't help me at all. That book, yeah, they've got this book. According to this book, see, it goes back to Muhammad. No, that's not the case. Author of the book expresses, not all of them, like, it's been expressed, not first of all of them goes to Muhammad. Not all the, he's not arguing that all hadiths are reliable, rather some chains, when critically examined using the historical method, can kind of make you to think. And then he gives an example of this, and then there is 3 to 5 hadith in Sahih Bukhari. Is it trustworthy? Is Yasir Qadhi misguiding people, or Farid and this magical person behind X is misguiding people?
I'm thinking they're misguiding. Go ahead, hon.
It's fine.
Okay.
Abbas may be regarded as reliable transmissions of the latter. Guys, this is just one isnad. This is just one strand.
Yeah,
where are the others?
Strand. That's it. That's it. The problem. It's one strand.
We need that 7,275 of them. But as I said, that's not the case. So there is no historians tells us the words in the hadiths, exactly what Muhammad said. The behaviors in the hadiths is exactly how Muhammad behaved. There is nothing historically back that up. Think about it. Nothing.
Again, this is again happening 600 years after Jesus walked on earth. And they want to put in question eyewitness accounts of Jesus's activities, but yet they appeal to this as authority. Things that weren't written down for 200 plus years after the event. And then the chain of narration is claimed on top of that.
Yasir Qadhi was definitely one of the better academics. He was sanguine towards hadith. He wasn't one of those from the skeptical camp. And he utilized methodologies like that you find among classical proper hadith scholars like Ali bin Madini. He utilized,
proper hadith scholars like Yasir Qadhi.
Well, that was before they put him under the bus, brother. Now Yasir
Yeah,
Qadhi
well,
is under the bus.
Yeah, he made an inconvenient statement, so therefore he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like you guys swore by Yasir Qadhi before this point. You do know that, right? And if he suddenly says something bad, hey, you got to take the good and the bad here. Don't just stab your brother in the back because he didn't do what you wanted him to do.
It's not only having good and bad, but it's also like, okay, like this is area I have not studied enough. I know very basics, but I don't know with the all details. Versus this guy has a degree on it, studied on it, and teaching on it. Therefore, I need to pause and reflect what he says. Versus what they are doing is, okay, bring the double bus, so I am going to put him under the double bus.
This is like someone who goes and builds a bridge across a large river, and then an architect who's got certification comes along and says, "Oh, this you definitely need to redo this," and you say, "No, I'm certified. I'm better at that than you." Or even worse, going to the architect who's built a bridge and saying, "See, I can do this better than you with duct tape and bubblegum." Oh boy.
the same methodology in order to determine that the narrator is actually reliable. Now, what's really sad is Motsky, who was a non-Muslim, does a better job than you'll ever do in this field. By the way, Yasir, not really giving me too much to work with here, but when we're talking about a few academics who have attributed some reports to the Tabi'een, this is the extreme, the extreme skeptical academics like Schacht and Yonbol. That's what they did.
No, just to be clear, Yasir Qadhi said no one, not just these extremists. He's saying no one in academia holds this reliable. No one does.
Even Schacht and Yonbol would attribute reports to folks like Zuhri, who was a Tabi'i. So this is not something that like the sanguine pro-hadith scholars in academia would do. This is the skeptics would do this. But alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah,
So do you admit that your scholars aren't skeptical, that they just take it hook, line, and sinker?
Yep.
That's what he did. He just divided skeptics, because I would include Christian scholars as one of the harshest to the Christian sources, because they're extremely skeptical on it. They want to see the actual evidence. They want to make sure that the Bible is actually backed up. But he just divided the scholars and the skeptics into two different camps. If you can't be skeptical about something, then you can't investigate it.
I was gonna. Something just came to my mind as you said something, but I forgot it. Half brain woman.
Well, if it comes to you later, just let me know.
Yeah.
After this video circulated, Yasir made somewhat of a retraction. Yasir admitted that the ICMA methodology partially validates many hadith. For those of you that aren't aware, ICMA is Isnad Kum Metin analysis. Now, Yasir, this is contradicting what you said earlier. So initially you said that this can only be attributed to some of the Tabi'in. Now you're saying that it validates many hadith. Okay.
I did say many hadith. Hold on here. I'm going to double check that.
ICMA is not
partially validates many hadith. Partially. So only a part of them are valid. But this is what they're building their eternal salvation upon. It's partial validation.
So on this, for example, he's saying, okay, this goes to the students or the second generation or the first generation. Because students said something about his teacher or her teacher, that doesn't mean that's what teacher said. There is nothing to kind of confirm those sayings. It's helpful for us to remember that as well.
Yes, and there's nothing for us to confirm that even the students necessarily said that until it was written down. Because then it was claimed that it went back to these people. So again, it's still, we're talking between the death of Muhammad and the writing down, the compiling of Sahih al-Bukhari, actually putting everything together, we're talking about 214 years. If you want to look at manuscripts, we don't have a manuscript for Sahih al-Bukhari until 980 AD. So again, another 100 years plus removed from the actual events. Now, I'm willing to give it and say, okay, well, I'll let you say it was written down when it was written down. Even though we have manuscripts from much later. This is our earliest manuscript. But even then, it's still so far removed. We don't see the change of narration until the Hadith.
And of course, you've got scholars are talking about those chain of narrations, those names entered in the Hadith because people want to justify their views or get authority for what they were saying. It wasn't like, okay, let's figure out how did these people got it from, because by that time lots of those people dead. So I can't simply today say, well, John MacArthur recently died. I can simply say, well, when I was with John MacArthur, we talked about this is what he said to me, and there is no one can verify that. It's exactly the same thing. Everyone was dead in like 9th century, not 900s. All the people who were around Muhammad, even like after Muhammad, couple of generations, they were all dead. There was no one can confirm that. It like phone line is this Chinese phone game. One of the good thing about it, when the game finishes, you ask the first person and then last person to compare their statement. And then you figure out, okay, something went wrong. Last person didn't get the memo. But with the Bukhari's Islam's kind of Chinese phone game version is first person is already dead, second person is already dead, third person is already dead, so there is no one to confirm all those sayings.
Yeah, that's where it comes down to, because it's just it would be a telephone game that would last for like 200 years. 300. How could you rely on that? Well, 300 if you go to the manuscripts, yeah. So just to put that in perspective, so if we go back 200 years, 214 roughly years, this is the United States at this time. So to write someone's personal story, you sit down and do the investigation to write someone's personal story from back then to now. That would be difficult. That would be nearly impossible to do. Again, we're talking about 8 generations if we're charitable with saying that's only 214 years.
We also have far more. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we also have far more technology and technological advancements that help us with like research and that sort of thing that they wouldn't have had access to. Like, it would have been hard enough for us with everything we have to do that. But let alone them. And then for us to like fact check that now. But the extra crazy part then is like considering when things are Mutawatir, like with all of these problems, and then the Mutawatir things are sketchy as all get out. It's yeah.
Yeah, so again, trying to write someone's story from back here, from, let's say, 1810 to today, to write down their story, exactly what they said, and the only thing you have to rely on is this phone tag that's been going on since then. Bit of an issue. Does not look likely in any way, shape, or form, and that's why the science of Hadith are laughable.
Meta-analysis. Now, yes, this is contradicting what you said earlier. So initially you said that this can only be attributed to some of the tabi'in. Now you're saying that it validates many hadith. Okay, alhamdulillah, this is a step in the right direction. Now, yes, I appreciate.
So in other words, we bullied you enough to be able to get you to say this. So now it's, who's bullying you, man? Who's bullying you?
Who stole your lunchbox?
Who stole your lunchbox? You look so sad, man.
Appreciate your half-hearted retraction, but you need to be more vocal, because a lot of people don't know what you're saying and it's going to go under the radar. So
if you don't say more, we're going to continue to bully you. Hey.
Humble yourself, retract properly. There's no shame in being mistaken. And people mess up all the time. Just admit that you're wrong. Don't pretend like
there's no shame in being mistaken. What is the whole first part of this video? Shame, 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 shame. Oh, there's no shame in being mistaken. If he was mistaken, then you would not have shamed him at the beginning of this video.
So some of us is good at bullying. Some of us are not good at bullying. Okay? So those of us who doesn't know how to bully needs to rewatch this video for 8 minutes, okay? You will learn quite a lot from Farid. Some of us knows how mafia works. Some of us don't know how mafia works. Those of us who don't know how mafia works, watch this video. You will learn. This is how mafia works. This is how bullying works. This is how you kind of force people to have the publicly kind of have your view. But actually Yasir Qadhi is not having his view at all. He's not sharing his view. He's still kind of standing what he said, just kind of unpacking more. You can't say like, oh, it is something I've been thinking about it, I reflect in it, it's very difficult, I've been struggling about it. And then because people bullied you into it, and then you're just like, yeah, light came to me, now I know. It doesn't work like that. But this is good practice for us to learn how to bully and how to do mafia job. Of course, if you are Christian, you can't do those kind of things. But yeah, this is examples.
Imagine if Christian apologists did this to each other. That would be bad. Oh, you didn't say what I want you to say. Therefore, you must be beat over the head.
Yeah, so
not a good look.
I think as a human beings, we do those kind of things. But kind of question is in the lines of, as we are doing those kind of things, do we represent the God we follow? In Christian circle, we will step in and then say, oh, how you are living your life, what you are saying, how you are behaving is not acceptable in the eyes of the Lord. You step in and then you confront me, you help me to go to the foot of cross. Versus in Islam, we are just looking at this and then, yeah, this is Islam. It's not like we are not even thinking like, oh, is he doing something like wrong? Everyone knows this is Islam. Therefore, people are publicly backing him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about all to this point. Let's see what else he's got.
No one understands what you're saying. Don't pretend that, oh, you were joking like you do the Yajuj and Majuj thing.
You know, I mentioned in passing a theory
that was meant to lighten the mood, and it was very clearly meant as a facetious joke. As for definitively stating that the hadith go back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at this stage of my life, I will have to say this is what I say as a believer, not as an academic. At this stage, and if somebody proves me wrong, then I would love to come across that and say, no, we can prove academically.
So academically, can't say it, but I gotta believe it no matter what.
Yeah. Blindly folding, blindly believing.
Yep. It takes blind faith in order to continue to pretend you're a Muslim.
What do you mean that it cannot be proven academically, Yasir? Because when a kafir watches your video, the kuffar that have been milking your statements, they understand that what you mean is that the academic criteria is based upon objective principles and the isnad system is faith-based. If you do not mean this, then just come out and say it. Say that the academic standards are severely biased and flawed. Instead of
just come out and say that Islam cannot survive critical thinking, that it has to be taken under blind faith, because the more you look into it, the more corrupt Islam looks.
Pretending that nobody understands what you're saying.
Because here's the point. We can academically prove, by and large, that the Prophet ﷺ preached the Quran, the words that we have today. The Uthmanic Mus'haf, that's like a solid given, right? The wordings of the Quran, by and large, we can academically, of course, believers, we say that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But
how exactly is my question? How exactly do you know? Because you just said that the Hadith aren't reliable, and the Hadith are the ones that tell you this stuff. How exactly do you know how reliable it is? How exactly do you know when it was compiled? How exactly do you know if you can't rely on the Hadith?
I would like to point out, he said, by and large. Okay. I would like also point out, it was 5 years ago. What would you write into this empty mushaf, empty paper? Brother, don't know. So now he's like developing his answers. In his book on the science of the Quran, he's the one who is going to those hadiths and then going to Islamic sources, the ones like discredited by the scholars, historians, and then giving us like, okay, this is this version, this is this version, this is this version. So we don't know for sure. And historically, we do not have anyone says, historians cannot simply tell us this is what Allah revealed to Muhammad. That's not their area. No one can tell us, oh, this is what Allah revealed to Muhammad from the historical side. They can say, okay, these are some of the early manuscripts. And then when we look at these early manuscripts, what we see, they are differ from one another. It is amazingly mind-blowing that there is not fully complete manuscript, dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word, exactly the same with the Quran we are reading. There is nothing from 7th century. There is nothing from 8th century. But, well, I think Yasir Qadhi was bullied too much when he was talking about holes in the narrative. Now he's just like making those statements. So there is nothing can ensure us historically. Quran is what Allah told Muhammad.
Exactly.
The academy has pretty much proven scientifically, I mean, through the historical critical method, that there's an Uthmanic Mus'haf. Yeah. That much is beyond reasonable doubt. And the fact that there's an...
That's not true either. Because historians, academics, Muslim academics tell us, oh yeah, there is something called Uthman Musaf. People are talking about it, but we do not have it. The Musafs, we said they are Ottomanic Musafs, actually has nothing to do with Uthman. That's Muslim academics are telling us. Yasir Qadhi is being dishonest in here. Nothing personal.
He's trying to do some damage control. Covers butt a little bit.
After
But I don't think it worked.
After 5 years, he's doing damage control.
He's finally doing the damage control. Being like, okay, now the heat's died down enough. I think I can come here and cover this up. Mm-hmm.
Uthmanic Mus'haf, we're talking about senior companions all being alive, right? So by and large, the normative interpretation of the modern academy is that.
Hold on, did he just say when they had the Uthman, he's referring to the Uthman Quran, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying that the companions of Muhammad, the elders, the people who followed him, they were all still alive?
Yeah, like when Abu Bakr was dead, when Uthman was dead, he's saying they were all alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just making sure I didn't mishear him because I didn't think they had the undead and rising from the dead part. Just come over there and say, yeah, that looks like the Quran. Because,
Even,
yeah, Uthman, Abu Bakr.
Yeah, even sake of the arguments, Uthman and Abu Bakr has not have that much contribution to the hadith anyway. But even for the sake of the argument, let's say some of those individuals whom Muhammad said take the Quran from has been suffered under the persecution of Uthman, all those kind of things. But while they were disagreeing with one another, Uthman simply said no to their Quran and then caused pain and physical harm to them. So, because three of us alive here right now, we are discussing things. That doesn't mean we are agreeing about everything we are going to put on a piece of paper. It's exactly the same thing. Sake of the argument, they were still alive. Uthman did not use them. Uthman rejected their Quran. And like they broke his hip. They broke Ibn Masud's hip. For he didn't want to give his Quran. His Quran was different. Ubay bin Ka'b, like all those people's Quran is being rejected. And as you point out, yeah, Abu Bakr was long in hell. Uthman was long in hell.
And you pulled up Ubay. Ubay himself was, according to Muhammad, one of the best reciters and one of the best teachers of the Quran.
Yeah.
So by Muhammad's own testimony, those were the people you're supposed to go to learn the Quran, and it is rejected.
Yep.
Oh, so reliable. So reliable.
So being alive doesn't mean much.
Well, alive is just like it's just a metaphysical matter, right? So if you're alive as like a puppet, okay, well, you were kind of there, I guess. Squint your eyes, don't look.
But the Quran claims to be, the wordings of the Quran, the preaching of the Quran, the teaching of the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ said them. This is the mainstream, and we can prove this.
And mashallah, it's great to hear.
Sorry. Did you pick that up?
You can prove it?
Wording of the Quran is what Muhammad said.
Yes.
So they are not from Allah.
Nope. It is Muhammad's words.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we got that.
Because that's an issue. But I don't think Farid is going to catch that.
Academia has scientifically proven the Quran, because a few years ago, you said some other nonsense.
Ahruf al-Qira'at cannot answer some of these pressing questions that are now being poked by our people by our academics, by their academics outside of the faith tradition. You see, in a Muslim environment, there's always some respect that we have for the Quran. We should. In a Muslim environment, we'll press a little bit and then we'll say, okay, khalas, sami'na wa ata'na. And that's great, alhamdulillah. When you go to academia, they don't have that red line.
Anyhow, let's carry on.
So, yeah.
He wants to point out, after 5 years, see, we bullied him. Now he's changing his way of speaking things about the Quran. Bullying.
How dare you change it? Well, if Farid's not even taking him changing his words, because now Farid's like, well, you said this 5 years ago. I'm going to hold you to what you said 5 years ago, no matter what you said. So, dude, Yasir Qadhi, because you put this together to try to escape being bullied about it, it didn't work because they're still obsessed and they're still going to bully you no matter what you do, because this is what Islam produces.
As of yet, I don't think we can do that to the Hadith literature. And we're just going to have to understand these are two different epistemologies. So when I become Sheikh Yasir and I go and preach and teach, I will quote Sahih Bukhari and I will quote Sahih Muslim and I will say قال الله قال رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, and that's the preacher. And I understand in the academy I cannot quote Bukhari and this will be what the Prophet said. I understand this, so I'm just going to have to use a different, epistemology.
So in other words, I'm lying to these people. I'm going to continue to lie to these people. And when I'm behind closed doors, I'll actually tell the truth when I'm behind closed doors. But publicly, I'm going to lie to people. How can anyone trust anything the Dawahists say? Because they confess that they're lying all the time.
Yeah, but Muslims are looking at them and then they are saying, oh no, he's deceiving those academics.
That's not what he's saying, because he's saying the opposite. But yep, guys, Muslims, please just wake up to this. This is deceit. This is deception. I mean, this would be a huge scandal if you had a bunch of pastors come together and say, yeah, we know it's a bunch of garbage, but we're just going to preach it anyway. We're just going to keep preaching it no matter what. And I know academically we're going to say that's all garbage, but yeah, we'll just lie to everyone. No, it's not right. That would not be acceptable in Christianity. That would be condemned in Christianity. But yet this is acceptable to do.
If I'm going to present something to the academy, here's what I'd say. I would say this is from Sahih Bukhari. I would say it. But I'd say, because of course there are going to be some folks that are skeptical. I'm going to say this hadith from Sahih Bukhari can be found in Muslim as well. It can be found in an earlier source like Mossad Ahmed. It can be found in perhaps Muwatta Malik. It can be perhaps be found in Mu'jam al-Tabarani. All these reports, they're all going to one common link.
All that was hypothetical.
Yeah, I want to point out something. I kind of went through Yasir. I think it was Yasir Qadhi's video with Jay Smith other day, and Jay kind of made a point that yes, it makes sense to him that how he's talking differently to Muslims in mosques versus the academics. And then he said, oh, I would probably use the same, like when I'm talking in the church, I will tell about the miracles Lord is doing, but that would have no stand in the academic circle at university, so I will kind of won't use that. In that, I said, well, you look at me and then you will get, in every platform, it will be the same thing. I reflected after that. I think people like us, so I don't have a platform at universities right now. Probably Farid doesn't have the platform at universities to go and teach. So therefore, it is very easy for him to sit down and then critique it. Because that's what I felt after I was speaking to Jay. Yeah, I can just sit back and then say, oh, I can say these things at university as well. And then I can get away exactly the same thing at church. But in Jay's circle, it works differently. So Farid has no platforms at universities teaching or teaching at universities. Therefore, yeah, sitting down and then critiquing Yasir Qadhi. And same me, I would sit down and then critique others as well. It's something probably I will be doing as well. But ideally, you want to, not ideal actually, biblically, we cannot have two faces. This is what the Bible says. Bible said it, it settles for me. He's my historical backup for this. But yeah, seems things are a little bit different over there.
So I would say, like, my perspective would be, of course, it's okay to share different things with different people depending on what would help them most. For example, like Paul said, I become like all people for all people, or maybe not exact quote, but essentially it's okay to do certain things in certain ways that are more helpful to certain people, but that doesn't mean you can say things that are false or do things that are false. Like, for example, if I share part of one story with someone and part of another story with someone else, because I know that those things are relevant to their lives, that might be genuinely helpful. But I can't be going to people and saying completely opposite things. As far as like, and that's where it becomes the two-face, as opposed to just like in academic circles sharing academic stuff.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So, nope, cannot be saying that the Gospel of Thomas is reliable out in public and then in academia say, well, no, it really is garbage. That would be equivalent to what he's talking about saying here. Because it's saying that I know that this is garbage. I know that it's not reliable. Yet I'm going to quote it anyway as if it is a reliable source and use it as a witness to convince people of my faith. And no, that would be extremely wrong to do.
And this report can be traced to him. Hey, ما في مشكلة, you can say this. And perhaps this report is corroborated by someone else. And you're being unreasonable by critiquing the single strands, because it's not necessary for there to be multiple strands everywhere for you to attribute a report to an early narrator, especially if the narrator isn't a big deal, especially if he's not famous for narrating this hadith, especially if he's someone that doesn't have many students. You can say this. And then if they say, okay, well, that makes sense, or well, let's say there's no corroboration, and then you say, طيب, it doesn't matter if there's no corroboration because he's a second generation narrator, and between him and the event is just one person, and that's sufficient for the average.
And again, that would be something that was written again extended period after that. So it's not that, oh, this person was there as a second eyewitness, just one removed. It's just one removed. That's all you got to worry about, just one removed. No. This is 8 generations removed for 200 years. That would be 8 generations.
Average historian. Why don't you just say that, man? The average historian would accept that. But if you're dealing with Hamir in academia that reject a second generation narrator, then if it's a Christian, you tell them, shuf, then you got to reject the Gospel of Mark. You got to reject the Gospel of Luke. And if he's an atheist, you say, Habibi, just reject all history. Don't treat Islam with one standard.
Gospel of Luke and go ahead.
Something falsely, intentionally he's doing falsely. So Mark is there, historically there, taking the information from Peter, who shared life with Jesus. Okay? And then we've got his writings of eyewitnesses. Luke is expressing he's doing research, and then he's with apostles. So those are eyewitnesses. Spending time with people, doing their researches, talking to the people, it is from their time, okay? Versus your people are just said things, said to someone else. Someone else is saying, like someone comes and then tells you, this person told me this, who told this to that person almost 150 years ago. Like it's not right to compare them. He knows better, and in here he's intentionally lying.
Absolutely, because again, Luke is the one who wrote it down. Mark is the one who wrote it down. So it was written by those people who did the accounts, who actually heard it firsthand, right there. Boom, done. The Hadith are again many, many, many generations later. Then they write it down saying that, oh yeah, this guy heard it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, hold on. No, that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
standard and treat other works and other civilizations with another standard. And yes, they do this. You got to point it out. So you see, it shouldn't be too difficult. And in the end, Yasir, before ending this video, my nasiha to you is to freaking shut up. Because you are the guy that can't stop with the blunders, but you're in your ivory tower and you don't want to come down to clean up the mess. So we got to clean up the mess for you.
So this is him cleaning up the mess for him.
So shut up. Not because like, okay, you don't know how to kind of clean up the mess, you cause stuff, but shut up because we are good bullies. We work like a mafia, we will come after you. Therefore, shut up.
Yep, keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
Don't you talk about things that I don't like you talking about.
And alashanik habibi, I'll do it for you this time.
So he does not accept the historical critical paradigm. In other words, he's not saying that he doesn't believe that Muhammad was real. He's just admitting that to believe that Muhammad is real has no historical basis. There's no reason for it other than he wants to be a Muslim.
Yes.
Why did he blur Robert Spencer's face?
Well, he's afraid that it'll turn Muslims on too much. You can't have that. He also blurs many women's faces.
I would like to point out Islam is very, very what is that thing called? Islam has very strong foundation. Therefore, they can't even allow to see someone else's face. It's so you see Robert Spencer. Like imagine, like Robert Spencer is one of the humblest guy I met. I was talking to him about one of the thumbnail, and then I called him expert. He said he doesn't like to be called expert, and then he's got like 30 books on it. Versus this guy has like no books at all, nothing. And then seriously, like, why are you so afraid of the truth? Why are you blurring his face? This is like child game. Oh, people might go to Robert Spencer and then hear about real Islam. I cannot allow that. Robert Spencer's face is very dangerous to the world.
Well, I do admit I love that he blurred him out in this video, because it seems that before we started this live stream, about 30 minutes before we started this live stream, he did another video about Robert Spencer. Well, that would be called being consistent. And as we know, they aren't.
Okay.
So we'll finish this one up and then see what his response is to Robert.
Robert, you see, you're embarrassing yourself because Yasir.
Okay. So I was originally thinking that I blurred his face so that people wouldn't know who it was. Except he just calls him out right there.
But he doesn't say his surname, so like Robert Spencer. Yeah. I don't know. Like maybe he just thinks like Robert Spencer is like very handsome and he doesn't want to be in competition with him. I don't know what might be the reason, but just like very childish. Even like very childish, they blur the lady's face who was asking the question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just... They are willing to put a child in bed. They are willing to plan and program how to make Muslim woman a hotel sex wife in a hotel. They are sitting down and then planning, okay, how we are going to clean up Muhammad Hijab's mess. But they are so afraid that, oh, the world is going to see those faces.
Oh, we can't have that. We can't have them seeing those faces.
Did say the exact opposite.
So by and large, the normative interpretation of the modern academy is that what the Quran claims to be, the wordings of the Quran, the preaching of the Quran, the teaching of the Quran, the Prophet ﷺ said them. This is the mainstream, and we can prove this.
He is saying that there is enough evidence to prove that Muhammad, peace be upon him, existed historically.
And I can claim that there's enough evidence that Muhammad ran around from one man's house to another, sleeping with as many men as possible, letting him be ridden all night long. If I don't produce anything, it means nothing.
Historically. And now
Actually,
here's another clip.
Yasir Qadhi like said, there is nothing goes back to the Prophet historically. That's what he said. Like we cannot trace those it's not back to Muhammad. That's what he said. So that's like he's again intentionally misguiding.
And sorry, again, I think you got to go back to him misguiding again, because didn't he just get on Yasir Qadhi for changing his story about the Quran being reliable or not? Because he just got on him about the stuff 5 years ago. And then Robert Spencer points it out, and he's like, oh, how dare Robert Spencer point this out that I pointed out just a few minutes beforehand in my own video.
Yeah, because if when Robert Spencer points this out, he's milking his statement. But when Farid points these things out, he's bullying those things.
From another formidable adversary.
Seriously, what does it even mean when Muslim scholars say we have to have two different approach, one for faith, another for facts? Can't you see how sad it is that Hadith cannot stand up to academic scrutiny? So since Hadith cannot stand up to academic scrutiny, what does it tell us about the...
Okay, so this one...
Well, he refers to you as this great opponent here. And then, of course, blurs you out.
You know what? Last time when I looked at the mirror, I was confident I am pretty beautiful person. And I'm still confident that I'm pretty beautiful person.
Well, yeah, because he has to blur you out because you're just too beautiful for a screen. It'd break his camera, break his computer.
He didn't want to charge me. See, he was thinking of me. He was like, oh, I'm going to charge money for her if my computer crashes, all those kind of things. He just, okay, let's not do that.
Can't even pronounce scrutiny. Ignore this one. But you get the idea, the kuffar, they're milking.
Ignore this one, but I'm definitely going to play the entire video here to try to disprove it, but just ignore it. I'm not going to say anything about the actual points you brought up. Just ignore it.
Scrutiny, how do you pronounce it? Anyway, scrutiny. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay. Thank you for English lesson over there. I just wanted to also point out, I don't see Yasir Qadhi as cow or something. I see him as a man who is made in the image of God, and God loves him sadly. He has not repented and turned to him. So I don't see him as a cow that I can milk him. That's what Muslims seems they are looking at one another, and then that's what they seeing one another. But I don't see Yasir Qadhi as cow or something. I look at him and then fallen image of the Lord.
Agreed.
Every blunder that you keep falling into because you have a large audience that are deluded enough to think that your opinion matters. So yeah,
I wonder why. Maybe it's because you guys kept referring to him as reliable for years. Maybe you guys should stop building him up if you're going to immediately throw someone under the bus when they have one difficulty.
Asad, please stop damaging your reputation, and keep in mind the only reason I'm doing this here and now is because I believe that in doing it there's a benefit for the ummah. And so
there's definitely a benefit for the ummah. Definitely a benefit, because guess what? You just proved that they definitely need to be leaving Islam en masse. Thank you for the video. I appreciate it. So before we switch over to the other videos, or anything in closing for this video you wanted to focus on? And we'll see a response to Robert Spencer.
Well, I don't think Farid made any proper response to Yasir Qadhi. There was no proper backup for what Farid stands for here. Yes, it still stands out that historically there is nothing tells us this is what Muhammad said. Saying words and actions of Muhammad is being preserved in the Hadith. There is nothing historical on that. And it is shame that their fate is depend on 3 names in a Hadith. 3 names in a Hadith which has only 3 to 5 Hadiths in Sahih Bukhari. That I find that's very concerning. And overall, my take on from this video is watch it again to learn how to bully your fellow Muslim. Watch it again, and then learn how to practice mafia skills on your fellow brother and sister, because Farid is doing very, very good job. And the thumbnail he put up on this video was strange. They put holes in Yasir Qadhi. He forgot that he's the one who was behind all those questions and all that, digging holes in the preservation of the Quran. Everything could be silently dealt behind the cameras, but they choose to go after one another. So, lesson, this is what Islam looks like. They hate one another.
That's what it comes down to. That's been very highlighted with everything that's been going on with Mohammed hijab. In fact, I just realized what time it is, so I do not have time to go through the Robert Spencer option, because that's at least another 10 plus minutes. It will take quite a while to go through, so I might dive into that one if there's a need for it. But I think Robert will probably just deal with that accordingly. And we basically already covered it, because all he claims is, well, Luke isn't as reliable. Luke is just as reliable as the Hadith. It's like, no.
Luke wrote it down. Mr. Farid, you know better than other Muslims. Luke wrote it down. Other person in that 3 chains, he didn't write down anything.
Exactly. That's what it ends up being. He tries to compare Luke to something that was written 200 plus years afterwards, and then backdated to try to be relevant, where Luke himself puts everything out at the very beginning of his gospel, saying, hey, this is the deal, this is what's going on, and this is why I'm writing it right here. So if you guys want to go read that, I'd highly recommend reading the Gospel of Luke. Muslims, I would agree, you guys need to read it. So Hatun, what do you got coming up soon? Anything you want to highlight?
Actually, I think it will be helpful to bring more attention to these holes in the narrative Hadith edition. It's helpful. I got live stream with Robert Spencer tomorrow. Probably I will be asking why he's so handsome that Farid blurred his face. We will be looking at Surah 8, starting Surah 8 tomorrow. And then I don't know if I have time. I've got kind of pretty full schedule, but if I have time, I want to go through. Did you see Abu Mussad's video on Yasir Qadhi?
No, I have not yet.
I find that video was very disturbing. If I find time tomorrow, I might do a stream about it and then just go through it to compare the love, how Muslim loves one another, how people represent the God they worship. That might be something I might be doing. I don't know what else is coming. Oh, I've got live stream with David Wood in 10 minutes.
Whoa, okay. Guys, go check that out. Oh yeah, by the way, just a small little thing here. I forgot about. I'm gonna go do another live stream. Elle, is there anything you want to plug real quick?
Definitely the Seek and Share Truth conference that was at the beginning of this video, the promo video. Hatun has more to say.
Yes, I will be in Ohio for Seek and Share the Truth conference, people. Try to be there. Try to be there. I might, by God's grace, if God is kind to me, I might bring something to make sure Muslims prove that Sahih Hadiths are reliable. So I know there are some Muslims are going to be there, and then I will have something for them to give them opportunity to prove that they can trust the Sahih Hadith, especially Sahih Bukhari. So I will be seeing Al there. Sorry, sister, I just thought I should mention that I will be in that conference too, and I registered.
Yes, come the most humble Christian apologist ever, and also Hatun.
I'm glad she registered for her free tickets, because after all, we may not know that she's coming unless she registers. Yes, she is one of our speakers.
But it's very good that she registered.
So
and you should too. Let her be your example. Not in most things in life, but at least in this. Register for your tickets for free.
Absolutely. As for me, I will be back on tomorrow, actually. Oh, I'm not used to doing live streams on Sundays. Back on tomorrow, I'll be doing a live stream on Back to the Future with John on Newton Sci-Fi. So that one should be fun. It has been a long time since that came out, so now we're looking at it. It should be interesting to see how times have changed and how we thought history would go, but did not really. So thank you guys so much for joining us and tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. And we will have to see you guys later. You know what? As always, Diaz Fault, and you know what? I got one last message to Farid. And I think this sums it up nicely.
If I were to bring reasonable evidence that the Prophet Muhammad, that he was a true prophet, would you be willing to become a Muslim?
How about no? I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your Allah. No, I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your no.
I don't like your Allah. 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 No. I like Tim Hortons way better. No. Chugging gallons of maple syrup. No. I like Tim Hortons way better, No. Chugging gallons of maple syrup. No.
How about no? I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your Allah. No, I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your no.